what is it that you want? You want to be saved. You want salvation. You want security. Your mind is always searching. The mind is always forming. It wants definiteness. It wants certainty. It wants to anchor on something. So you are listening to this video because you think you can learn to meditate and thereby get some kind of security, some kind of assurance, some kind of confidence, some kind of anchor. But the real truth is that meditation removes the very need for security, and you will realize the fickleness of mind which results from your fear. The change that really comes through meditation is not probably what you expect. It changes the real motivation with which you come to the practice of meditation itself. So, being very clear about this makes the change very easy. If you understand fully what the final result is going to be, it will come very quickly. In fact, if you really understand what meditation is, then a successful meditation is immediate. Knowing what meditation is equivalent to meditating. So therefore, if you start with a wrong concept and wrong expectation, it will take a very long time for you to get into real meditation. You have to constantly re-examine your motive and how realistic it is and what the real goal of meditation is. So I have seen hundreds of people torturing themselves in the name of meditation, and they only deteriorate as they practice. So I am saying this because I have seen this in monasteries, in mountain caves, people torturing themselves thinking that they are going to get something that God will appear before them. Yes, God will appear. Whatever you expect will happen to you, and it is only a hallucination, a projection of your mind. If you intensely expect that something will happen, it may happen, but that has very little to do with real meditation, which does not end in anything particular, but it ends in the ending of your root feeling of insufficiency and your need for something definite. There is a very definite endpoint. That very definite endpoint is the total absence of the need for definiteness itself. So if you are very clear about this, you can start this practice. There is another very important point to be mentioned. Do you need any prerequisites to get into this? In other words, do you have sufficient initial stability to practice meditation? Because if you don't have the initial level of stability, you are likely to get into trouble. In fact, I have personally seen cases where people get into psychosis because they try to meditate. That is because initially they have too much of inertia or activation, and They are unsuitable candidates for meditation. So they have to raise their level of stability so that they can successfully practice meditation. So if you examine the different religious systems, you find that they all prescribe certain practices before they start doing meditation. If you examine Jainism, you will find that they have 3 stages. First is right views, second is right knowledge, third is right practice or right conduct. And right practice includes Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya and Aparigraha. Buddha elaborated this later on into the Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path includes steps like right views, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness and right samadhi. Samadhi is sameness of attitude. It is not trance as many people suppose it to be. If you have sameness of attitude, you have what is known as deterministic neutrality. You accept everything as part of the natural flow of event sequences. Now, between the 2nd and 4th centuries AD, in Buddhism there appeared a new branch called Yogacara Buddhism. So they systematized the asanas, they introduced the pranayama and all that. And there was a man by name Patanjali who lived in India, in Tirupattur, in Tamil Nadu. And he tried to combine all the different systems existing at that time. Patanjali, I suppose, was a scholar, and I suppose it was the same Patanjali who wrote textbooks in linguistics. He elaborated the Sphoda theory and all that. So he combined the 3 different paths, Jain, Buddhist and Yogacara Buddhism. And he proposed what is known as the Ashtanga Yoga. The Ashtanga Marga of Buddhism he relabeled as Ashtanga Yoga. And that also has 8 steps like Buddha's Ashtanga Marga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. The last steps are the same as Buddha's Ashtanga Marga, Eightfold Path. But earlier on he made some additions and subtractions and modifications to incorporate yoga and all that into this. And now Patanjali's system is widely known and used. The important thing at this point is that meditation comes as the last stage. You have to practice all the earlier steps to qualify yourself for meditation. First practice in Jain code of conduct is Ahimsa. And the 5 practices included in Jain Dharma is included in Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga as Yama, the same order. And the very first one is Ahimsa. Ahimsa is non-violence. And what does it mean? It means that you have to be unselfish. You should not selfishly inflict aggression by thought, word or deed on another person. So this is the first step in this dissolving your own self. And by dissolving your own self, you increase your stability. So if you are trying to get an escape from suffering for your own self, you will not succeed. So you have to first of all develop the initial level of selflessness so that you can practice meditation. So now you have to check your own stability level first in order to start practicing the highest practice of meditation. If you are highly self-centered and you try to meditate, you may get into trouble.